Silence filled the room. Those were the first words everyone remembered about that day. The Henderson family sat around the massive oak table in their late father's mansion. Crystal chandeliers glistened above, portraits of stern ancestors stared from the walls, and the air was thick with tension. Their father, Richard Henderson, had been a wealthy businessman, known for his strict rules and cold discipline. But he was also a man who had built an empire worth millions. Now, with his passing, everyone was eager and anxious to hear how his fortune would be divided. There was Catherine, the eldest daughter, polished and proud, who believed she deserved everything for being the most responsible. Then there was Thomas, the younger son, a carefree gambler who needed money more than anyone but deserved it the least. Their cousin, Angela, a quiet woman who had lived with Richard for years, sat nervously, unsure if she even had a place in this will. The lawyer, Mr. Graham, adjusted his glasses and unfolded the document. Everyone leaned in, holding their breath. Little did they know, Richard had left behind more than wealth. He had left behind secrets. The lawyer began with the expected. To my beloved children, Catherine and Thomas. Both siblings sat straighter, ready for what was rightfully theirs. But the lawyer's next words froze them. I leave each of you the sum of $1. Gasps echoed through the room. Catherine's eyes widened in disbelief. Thomas slammed his fist on the table, shouting, "This must be a mistake." But Mr. Graham calmly shook his head. It's no mistake. Richard Henderson was very clear. Angela sat quietly, watching the siblings unravel. She couldn't understand. Why would their father, a man who worked his whole life to build wealth, leave his children nothing? The lawyer continued, to my cousin, Angela, who has cared for me in my final years, I leave the mansion and everything within it. Angela nearly fell out of her chair. Catherine and Thomas turned on her instantly, their voices dripping with fury. This isn't fair, Catherine shouted. She's not even his child. Thomas snarled. She tricked him. That's what happened. But Angela could only sit trembling, overwhelmed by what had just happened. She had inherited everything, or so it seemed. Just as the room descended into chaos, Mr. Graham raised his hand. There's more, he said, pulling out an envelope. Mr. Henderson left a personal letter to be read aloud. The room fell silent again. The lawyer unfolded the letter and began. My dear family, if you are hearing this, then I have left this world. But before you judge my decisions, know this. Money was never meant to be a curse. Catherine, you became obsessed with control and appearances. Thomas, you wasted every chance I gave you. I could not leave my empire in hands that did not respect hard work. Angela, though not my child by blood, showed me loyalty, kindness, and honesty in my last years. She reminded me of what family should truly mean. Catherine's eyes filled with tears of rage, while Thomas buried his face in his hands. Angela, still shocked, held back her own tears. But the letter wasn't over. There is, however, one condition. My inheritance to Angela will stand only if she fulfills the task I have left behind. If she refuses or fails, everything will be sold and donated to charity. The room erupted again. What task? Angela whispered. Mr. Graham cleared his throat and read the final part of the letter. Angela, in the study you will find a locked chest. Inside is something I have kept hidden for decades. To claim your inheritance, you must open it and reveal the truth to the family. Everyone's eyes darted toward the heavy wooden doors of the study. Hearts pounded as they walked inside. There, against the wall, sat a large chest with iron locks. Mr. Graham handed Angela a small brass key. Her hands shook as she turned the key. With a loud click, the chest opened. Inside lay a stack of letters, photographs, and a single birth certificate. Angela picked it up, her eyes scanning the paper. Her mouth dropped open. This can't be. Catherine snatched it from her hand, her face pale as she read the words. Mother, Evelyn Henderson. Father, Richard Henderson. Child, Angela Henderson. Everyone froze. The truth hit like thunder. Angela wasn't just a cousin. She was Richard's hidden daughter. Tears streamed down Angela's face. He was my father, all this time? He never told me. Mr. Graham nodded. Richard wanted you to know the truth only when he was gone. He feared the family's judgment, but he wanted his legacy to be passed to the one who truly lived by his values. Catherine was speechless, her pride shattered. Thomas muttered under his breath, too broken to argue. For once, the mansion was silent. Angela looked around the room, torn between grief and newfound strength. She hadn't asked for any of this. She had only cared for Richard out of love, never expecting a reward. But now, standing in that grand study with the truth revealed, she realized why her father had chosen her. He wanted to leave his fortune not to those who demanded it, but to the one who had earned it without even knowing. As the lawyer packed away the documents, he left them with Richard's final words written at the bottom of the letter. Family is not defined by blood, but by loyalty, love, and truth. Let this be the legacy I leave behind. The Hendersons walked away forever changed, their lives rewritten by a will that revealed not just wealth, but the power of hidden truths.